Live with Mr. Christopher Lamm with 2 M's, not 1 B.
Hey.
Hey. Wow. You did good on the light.
It's not as fluorescent as yours.
I don't like it.
Can you hear me well? I turned the Wi-Fi off because the Wi-Fi I think is weird out here.
Yeah, sometimes like yesterday I had a guest and he had the ear pods and it was like UFO transferring like problems. So this is, yeah, you sound great. You sound great. Well, for all you guys that don't know, this is Mr. Christopher Lamm, dear friend, actor, content creator, activist, and so much more.
Should we give them like should we just like shoot it for a minute and let them trickle in?
Yeah, Oh, just to let you know, also we're filming this for the Social NETWORTH YouTube channel. So all this is gonna be. So we're gonna pretend that there's no comments, even though we love the comments, and we actually welcome questions. This is your time to ask Chris anything that you've ever wanted to know, and keep it PG, please.
There are kids, yes.
Yeah, there are kids. Well, we're gonna talk about kids.
Oh, my grandma from Germany just joined. That's cute.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hello, Oma.
We're gonna
really
extra. We're gonna keep it clean. So, Chris, the first thing that I wanted to say is thank you for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna have an Oprah moment. And then also, you know, for you guys that don't know, Chris was one of my subjects, content creators, when we did our 3rd Social NETWORTH. And I'm going to show really quick. It was
The Art of Elysium
magazine. And you can see Chris's great mug and physique right there. I love this one, right? Wasn't this fun? We shot you guys.
No, it was a lot of fun, yeah. I met a lot of good people too. Rowan, who's the photographer for this, also did my headshots that I just recently posted.
That's right.
You can follow him at Rowan Daily. Sorry.
Daily.com. Yeah, RowanDaily.com. Yeah. Rowan_daily.com. You know what, Chris? Thank you for saying that. Even though I am Rowan's agent, I empower you to be his agent for right now and do what I should be doing. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I wanted you to be part of the Social NETWORTH feature was because you have a big heart, man, and you're an activist. And I know for this one in particular, we did it to benefit the Art of Elysium, which is a charity that brings artists to hospitals to do art for people that are sick, regardless of any age, and just create art. And obviously you're an artist and you jumped on this right away. What other causes are dear to your heart?
What other causes? I mean, anything with human rights, being openly gay, you know, there's a lot of issues. And then what's going on in Georgia right now is saddening. But human trafficking, I've been involved in anti-human trafficking since I was in the military. I became a counselor after I was an electronic warfare technician and an honor guardsman. So I started my activist work as a volunteer and advocate 5-6 years ago. Yeah, and then as a storyteller, I've been trying to raise awareness as well. Brandon Cohen, who you know, my manager, him and I, we are producing a charity / nonprofit fundraiser right now called Not for Sale that we had to postpone, unfortunately, due to what's going on right now in the world with COVID. But we postponed it, so it's still happening. We've raised about $30,000 so far. We had some artists fly in that were going to perform, but we had to change their plane tickets, and then we had to try to get them refunded, and that was a big hassle. But whenever this is finally over, a month or 2 or 3 or 4 from now, that's still going to happen.
Wow, awesome! No, I know. I you know what? It's going to happen, and it's.
I mean, you were involved. You were involved too. You've been helping us out there as well with the event.
Yeah, well, you know, it's complete in alignment with what I love and what the Social NETWORTH is about, which is content creators giving back. And you know, I can tell you that after this whole thing ends, people are going to be so much more altruistic, and they're going to be so much eager to give back. I think this has been such a huge democratizer and also like equalizer, where we all realize that we're all the same, and you know,
I'm wearing my "We're All in This Together" shirt, even though it's mirrored right now, so you can't read it.
What does it say?
It's another nonprofit. A friend of mine, Greg Hummel, runs it. It's called "We're All in This Together," and he sells like these shirts and bracelets, and all the profits go to whatever is going on in the world right now. He's helped me out with human trafficking as well. Right now, he's helping out nurses and homeless people with the money he's raising from this.
Right. Amazing, amazing. Chris, I want you to tell us, so what's worked for you? Obviously, we're all going into a 2-month quarantine situation now. What would be some advice that you would give people to kind of be in gratitude and feel good while they're hunkered down? Because it is a tricky time for all of us.
Yeah, no, what's helped me a lot is I've been getting up in the morning and I've been journaling. I did that 21-day abundance challenge again that you invited me to. Yeah, the second time that I think
it's a little bit more about that in depth, but keep going. Sorry.
Because when this all started, I feel like everyone was like, we need to talk mental health. Is like everyone was anxious, you know. And for some people, this was the first big crisis they're experiencing, or the first big detriment, you know. But yep, staying grateful, getting up in the morning, having like kind of a routine, kind of a schedule. I've been quarantined with my boyfriend who has 3 kids, you know, so they need a lot of attention and they need help with their homework and they want to have fun and play with, you know, with also keeping them safe and doing stuff around the house. That's been fun and definitely not boring. I've also been working on writing a TV show. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it. I can't really mention the project name, but my friend Raul and we've been working on that together in the last 2-3 months. We wrote the script for the season. I outlined a series synopsis for a book / the first season. We just finished the character breakdowns and the deck, so we're shopping it to networks right now. That's been exciting because I like to work. So like after everything, you know, got scrapped and put on hold, I was just like, what am I going to do Monday through Sunday? But I've been finding things here and then, but definitely waking up and even just this morning we got up and like we didn't feel like going for a run, but we pushed each other to go for a run. And that already changed my day, you know, because I have like a little sense of accomplishment. And when you're running and you're trying to give up and quit on yourself, you know, like that mentality then kind of carries over into your day. When you like did something, you can be a little bit proud of yourself.
So listen, wow, that's amazing. So you're in a relatively newish relationship, and
yeah.
Now and he's got 3 kids. Tell me how's that going? Like, what are some tips for people that are quarantining now with either their kids or other kids? What's working for you? I mean,
well,
you, by the way.
Well, we've been
that
grateful.
21-day abundance meditation manifestation really worked, huh? You got a boyfriend with 3 kids all in one freaking jump. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff?
I recommend it. You have to chant the mantras. We've been over this.
Stop.
No, I mean, gladly, they've kind of been preparing for this their whole life. You know, they have their devices and their tablets, so sometimes it's a little hard to get them off of it and be like, let's actually do something, you know. So
that's actually a plus, right? How like tapped in wired kids are, right? In a way, because they can do their own thing.
In a way, yes, because they're. Yeah, so like, you know, we grew up where you kind of like played outside. I didn't really have technology growing up, but since they have their kind of devices now, they do come and do stuff with us and we do stuff with them, but sometimes it's like, okay, get off of your computer. Let's do something.
And now, do you find, well, kind of like, you know, you've kind of assumed the role of a step-parent and stuff. Do you, like, what's that like?
I mean, it's been, Dan and I started dating in January, and we went on like 1 date, and then we went on 2 dates, and then 3-4 dates a week. And then it ended up being, it's honestly, out of the relationships I've had, it's been the most healthy. Everything's been happy and communicative, and
it's been better than a pandemic to really cement a new relationship.
Well, and then that happened, and we both tested positive for the virus about 6-7 weeks ago when the whole thing first started. So when we both had the virus, we didn't leave the property for 14 days, and that was actually I feel like that's also why I'm at a better place now, because we kind of had it when it first started, you know. So like when everyone was really anxious. And we have the antibodies, and I mean, every day different facts are coming out, and I feel like you can almost cherry pick what you want to hear. But I mean, they are saying that if you had it and you have antibodies, that it's very unlikely to get it again. So that's been kind of nice to know versus being cooped up and just being worried or scared or afraid, because eventually our lives have to carry on somehow. You know?
Yeah. So wait, I want to go back to that. So, because I mean, we're hearing about cases, and obviously New York has so much more than LA, but I've never really we don't get to talk to people that have had it, especially in couples. What were your symptoms like, and what were his symptoms like?
So I barely had zero symptoms, which is another reason why I think that this thing is spreading the way it is, because people that don't have it are going about their days spreading it unawareingly. Dan had back pain, really light back pain, and he couldn't smell. And when he couldn't smell, it was when he realized he couldn't smell, it was probably about a week before they released that not being able to smell was a symptom. So he was just like at home and being like, I can't smell, and it's really weird. And then eventually they brought out in like a news article saying that no smell is a symptom. So Dan was like, maybe we should go get tested. And thankfully LA is one of the first major cities in the US that have been allowing testing for everybody. So there was a drive-through test. I posted about it too at the Dodger Stadium. So we did a drive-through test, and then we waited to get our results back. We ended up getting a call at like 10 p.m. at night where we were ready to go to bed, and they're like, you guys have it. And so, and then after that, we quarantined for 14 days, and then we tested again twice, and then those tests ended up being negative. But yeah, the 14 days that we have it, it was in the beginning of all of this, and news was changing every day, every hour. So it was a little, I was anxious. So the journaling, the meditating, the like trying to like on my way out of the situation, you know, like very helped.
Did the kids get tested too, or?
One of the kids got tested. But he got tested after we already had our positive test, and we just all stayed quarantined at home, because if you see how this thing is spreading right now, if the kids are at home with us and we had it, they definitely had it as well.
And it's not like they were showing symptoms either, right?
Yeah, none of us were really showing symptoms. The only one that had symptoms was Dan. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing, amazing. Just like you got it all at once. Speaking about getting it all at once after I want to talk about the 21-day meditation that started it all. So I started this 21-day deep meditation right before Christmas, right? And
yeah, it was in December, yeah.
In December. And Chris's life, let's just say it was a lot different. He wasn't dating who he's dating now. He didn't have 3 kids. The things were different.
I didn't write my TV show.
And all of a sudden you were like, I am gonna manifest some shit right now, and I don't care what you're gonna do. But no, I gotta say, man, you and your energy, and you're one of those people that you fully commit, you know. And it wasn't even so. And it obviously the actions speak louder than words at times, but it was also your energy about it. You're always that guy that completed the assignment first thing in the morning. You were always commenting back. You were like, you really took this on so powerfully. Tell me about.
Well, I have a very open
your process with it.
I already have a very open mind, and I've had a traumatic childhood. I was in the military. I'm from a different country. I'm originally from Germany. I moved to America in 2012. And then I've had a lot of things that I've had to overcome in life. Yeah. So I already kind of have this mentality, you know, of overcoming and seeing the brighter picture and putting out that good energy and wrapping everything I do in kindness and love. Because I believe that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is being kind and being loving and giving.
Yeah.
So when I started reading self-help books and I started reading things about manifesting, and I started digging into the power of the subconscious mind, I was finding out that I was kind of not subconsciously but unawareingly already doing a lot of the things that we were talking about. So when I learned about the kind of science behind it, I was just like, I had like an aha moment. I was like, I've kind of been doing this, but now that I kind of have the guidelines to it, and like, and now I have even more faith in the process. It kind of makes it even easier and more fun for me, because I get to create even more and dream more. And my imagination is wild, which is why I'm a storyteller. So when you got the meditation, right, it just kind of, one of the reasons, what I'm hearing is that one of the reasons why you took it on so intentional was because you were like, wait a minute, these are the things I already do. If I jump on this full force, it's gonna work. But also not just that, just why not, you know, like I've never really meditated before. So when the first time we did the abundance challenge, that was kind of my introduction into having like a routinely meditation, which I now do at least once a day, usually one in the morning, one at night. But I used to not do that. And I mean, you're the one who explained the science to me as well with the word 99% energy, and like, why not sit there for 10 minutes a day and focus our intention on what we want to create or do or be.
You really ran with it, man. I'm so blown away. Like, talk about student beating the master, but keep going. Sorry. And I say this with so much love, and I'm just so proud of you, seriously, straight up.
No, thank you. Well, that, and I've known you since my journey in LA started. So you're like one of the few people that have kind of also seen me like develop / evolve career-wise, as a person, as a friend, in a relationship, you know. So you've kind of as a father, yeah. You've been one of my closest friends that's also been able to like kind of through this process. So
no, and you know what? And actually, you know, we've seen each other on a very social distancing manner, 6 feet apart. But when I see you with the kids, and it's just you're just so you get along. So you're such a nurturer by heart, and that's the way you've always been, even with friends. I think it's probably because it sounds like you had to grow up really fast, you know?
Yeah, I had like an early adolescent, you know, like since I was kind of five years old, I've had to kind of like, I love my parents and I love my family, but I kind of had to, you know, take the upper hand and take control and like take care of people and take care of myself and take care of others around me, which I honestly don't mind. I love it. I think a year and a half ago, I finally learned how to set boundaries, you know, not be so codependent and be more focused on myself and realize where's my help needed, where's my love needed. Does this person need to, you know, grow with me looking the other direction right now? You have that one metaphor with a caterpillar that's trying to get out of its cocoon, and then the lady helps it, and then the butterfly has these crooked wings. So that's kind of like another journey I've been on, is learning how to set healthy boundaries and learn when to reach out a hand when it's needed, etc. You know.
Yeah, and
I used to just give myself away to anyone and everyone, and then I was just drained at the end of it, you know. So now I've really like learned how to take time for myself, how to do nice things for me, but still, you know, also be a loving individual that's allowed to care, that's allowed to give to others.
Yeah. Wow. No, I hear you. It's. I think someone like you and not probably, and someone like me, in the sense like we're always trying to help people. So but at some point we're doing people a disservice if we jump too fast and not let them have the process. Okay, so I want to talk about, obviously, you know, and you and I can relate as well, in the sense that we're both immigrants and we both came to this country and this city and this town, and so many of us actually, right, pursuing our dreams. Yeah. What initially drove and what drives your passion towards acting and being a visual artist like that? And okay,
so where do I start? So when I was in the U.S. Air Force, that's how I came to America. I was in the U.S. Air Force. I flew straight to basic training. I became an electronic warfare technician, so I worked on electronic defense systems that kind of counter missile attacks, that set out countermeasures. I also did honor guard on the weekends, where I conducted the flag folding ceremony for service members that have passed away. And then I became a victims advocate for sexual assault survivors and for human trafficking survivors. And that kind of like showed me this light. It helped me with something that I went through in my childhood, in my past. And then when I started healing and I started becoming more spiritual and more like awake, I realized that I was in America and I've always wanted to act / write / produce / direct. But when I was a kid in Germany, my parents would, you know, tell me like, you're a little kid in Germany, like doesn't make any sense. You should go be a lawyer. But then when I realized I have citizenship and I live over here and I liked what I did in the military, I didn't love it. It's not something that I would have been passionate about to do for the rest of my life. But I realized that I had the opportunity to leave the military and to move to Los Angeles, which is what I did at 21. So I was in the military from 18 to 21, and then at 21 I moved to LA. When I was a teenager, I dealt with depression and I was suicidal. And then I had a failed suicide attempt, and I watched a movie called The Lovely Bones, which kind of opened up my eyes to what I was going through. And it made me want to be better, and I wanted to stop having this like mindset of the world sucks and the world is cruel to me, but like what can I do out of this? So like I slowly turned all this darkness into light step by step, and I moved to LA to be an actor and to be a writer and to produce and to direct, because I wanted to give back, because this picture, this film kind of saved my life in some sort of sense. So I have like an undying passion for the industry.
Wow, man. I love that. You know, I can so identify with what you're saying, because movies and, you know, the institution of, and the beauty about it, right? The institution.
Well, and being able to, you know, there's so many stories that need to be told. If it's a true story, if it's not a true story, but if a story can move someone, if a story can change someone's life, if it can change a perspective, you know, that's a very powerful medium. And I think it's a beautiful medium, and it's a beautiful art form as well.
A movie can be like years. You can do years of therapy out of one movie that touched your soul, that made you feel understood. You were forgotten,
or you can relate to a character. You can relate to this journey, you know. And I think it can be very emotional and overwhelming, in the best way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that's I know you just started watching that show, Hollywood, the new Ryan Murphy show.
We're on episode 3 or 4. Okay, and I've had the pleasure to meet Ryan 3-4 times, and I actually had a callback for that show. So that's why I haven't really watched it yet, because I was like, you know, I wanted to be on that, but I finally got over myself, and I'm watching it right now, and I'm loving it. And it's such a cliche and Hollywood LA story, but it's told amazingly. Like I'm not through it yet. I'm on like episode 4, and I don't want to spoil anything. But,
no, and I'm not gonna spoil it to you.
And I really look up to Ryan. I told him too when I met him. I thanked him. I told him, thank you for everything that you've done for the LGBTQ community. You know, back when I was in the closet gay, I was really scared about being an openly gay actor, and how you were going to be perceived in Hollywood, you know, and I've done everything my own way. I was like, I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to make it in an honest way, you know. Like I don't want to lie, I don't want to cheat, I don't want to have to do things that you shouldn't have to do to reach a goal. So I thanked Ryan. I was like, thank you for making all these amazing projects where you incorporate the LGBTQ family, you know, and we all get this chance to kind of like shine under this like amazing producer, writer, director.
Wow. Yeah.
So Ryan is also a big influence on you know, on my passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at a question that someone has here. If it's not X-rated, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, let's go through these.
You've got some other ones there too?
You go ahead, and I trust you.
This one wasn't very appropriate.
Okay. I'm not going to scroll through that.
Yeah, this one.
You picked the Georgie. Wait, let me get my water.
But, you know, it's interesting because, yeah, and I'm not going to spoil, I mean, the show is great and all that, but for you guys that don't know what it is, Hollywood is a show by Ryan Murphy that kind of chronicles the studio system life in the 1940s, when all these actors would come from everywhere in the country, from middle America, and then they were put into a really strict structure of, like, teaching them how to talk, how to walk, how, you know, they would control the studios themselves. And this was a thing that's so different now, that shifted, because the studios would control them so much. They would actually not want them to get media coverage. And then because they didn't want the actors to have control. But then what happened was, when they finally gave in to the actors having that kind of media coverage, they realized how much more money they were making the studios. And then the thing shifted. Do you think you would have liked to have been part of that studio system? Do you find it fascinating in a way?
I do, in a way, but also I'm glad to be alive in the time that I'm alive right now, where I'm allowed to be who I am, where I'm allowed to make choices, where I have decisions, where I can create my own projects, you know, where yes, like, it'll be fun to act in, let's say that, you know, it'll be fun to play a part in something like that, but I wouldn't actually want to turn back time and live in that era now.
Because I was with an actress friend of mine yesterday, and she's from Argentina, and I was explaining to her the studio system structure, like contract players, and she was like, God, that sounds so good. You're just in a home and they're feeding you. So I was like, yeah, I guess there's pluses about how it was probably like a nucleus, right? Like a family nucleus. But I think you have it much better now than they had back then.
Yeah.
Chris, I want to go back a little bit about, you know, as I was kind of joking earlier on, but not really joking, like those meditations really worked well for you. You landed a doctor boyfriend, now you got kids, you live in the hills. I mean, things are kind of working out. But listen, so what would be just for people that are kind of, they flirt with the idea of being spiritual, or they meditate here and there. What could be a structure that they can take on as far as a meditation practice that you think would work for people?
Okay. I'll answer that right now. I saw a question that someone Rolex Lovers 72 said, I'm 48. Do I still have a chance at acting? Yes, you always have a chance at acting.
Yeah.
You definitely have to take classes. You have to know your craft. It's like any other job. There's things to learn. There's things to know. But there's always a character for a specific age or look. So don't be discouraged by age at all. Definitely go for it. Now back to your meditation question. Structure-wise, I told you I've never actually meditated until you kind of forced me to do no, you didn't force me. You invited me to your Abundance Challenge group. So I think guided meditations are very helpful, where someone kind of calms you and speaks to you at first. Deepak Chopra has a lot of amazing guided meditations that you can find on YouTube, that you can just Google. But that really helped me a lot.
Nothing happened. That was me trying to answer a question, being a good host. So wait, okay. So somebody wrote earlier about you journaling. Okay. Mm-hmm. So do you journal every single day?
I do. I just recently started sharing some affirmations. But yeah, I journal every day. I do affirmations every morning. Sometimes I journal more private stuff, but I've been sharing my affirmations that I write down in the morning. And I usually pull those from a couple different, if I don't have anything, I get them from my tea bags. I buy these yogi teas that like come with like a cute saying, and then like I write it, and then I kind of go off on it or about it. And then you always have to speak of it as yourself. So never in like a different person. It's always, I am going to. It's not, you're not trying, you're not maybe going to do something. You're doing, this is going to happen, you know? So you have to kind of speak it into existence.
Okay. Like it's a done deal.
It's a done deal, yeah.
What about, you know, one thing that I do, and before you go to bed, they say that's the time when you pull the most for your subconscious to create outside. So are you meticulous about what the last thing you see or experience before you go to sleep or when you wake up?
Even if I don't do a meditation before I go to sleep, I always kind of try to like ground myself by walking myself through what I've been through in my life, what I've overcome in my life, what I have to be grateful for, just to take a look at the abundance that I have in my life, you know. So I kind of look at that, and then like if I like the film projects I'm working on right now, like I picture myself on the set. I picture myself talking to the director, to the producer. So like I get really excited about it, and it's also not just a lot of what you're thinking, but also the emotion you're attaching to it. So you wanna feel good, you know. So whatever you want, you should definitely feel good about it. And if you don't feel good about it, you have to ask yourself why you're not letting yourself receive, or why you're not letting yourself accept something, you know? So there's there's all these blocks that you have to work on. I've had a lot of blocks, and I still do. We're all a never-ending piece of work, you know? So there's always something that you can kind of work on.
Yeah. And I think to add to what you're saying, like, you can create a state of abundance from a state of lack. So
yes,
let's say
that creation, first person, yes. King Cat creation. So someone commented that you speak of yourself in first person when you're writing affirmations.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And what I was going to say is that you can create a state of abundance from lack. So even if, let's say, your goal is to move to an incredible house in the hills or whatever that is, you can't wake up every morning and just hate where you live, because
no, you have to be. You have to know everything's temporary. Everything good, everything bad is temporary. So you have to like kind of sit in these moments and enjoy them, if they're good or if they're bad, and just having that awareness, knowing that it's going to pass. If you're happy, if you're sad, if you're frustrated, you know, these are all temporary moments. So nothing's forever. But also when like I still have my apartment back on Laurel and Sunset, And I still love living there, and I'm very appreciative of that place. And even if it's not your dream house, I'm like, I have a roof over my head. I have two roommates that I love and adore, and we get along amazingly. It's clean. It's in a great location. I was able to get rid of my car. I can walk everywhere from there, you know, so why be petty, or why be angry or upset or bitter when there's really no reason to be, you know, especially when there's so many people in this world that don't have certain things, you know. So just being grateful for what you have will carry over, you know. It'll bring more of that to you in different forms and shapes and sizes.
Yeah. You know what, and to echo what you're saying, I agree. I think no matter what situation you're in, you can always be in appreciation, and you can always take into gratitude everything that you have, because you know what, people would kill to be in your situation, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Kill to be in your situation.
Yeah, from having your legs to walking to someone in a wheelchair, that could be everything, you know, or even being able to perform at the gym, you know, you have a body, like, celebrate it, you know, by being able to work out, by being able to go run. I was in the military, so like I have a lot of friends that lost an arm or a leg, you know, and they're still at the gym, you know, they're still grateful that they have their other arm or their other leg, you know, so it's all about mindset and outlook.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today, man.
Of course.
So anything you want to plug, or how people can find you? Obviously, your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram. Let's see. Let me flip this around. I have some books that I thought people might like.
Yes.
This is a great one. Aspen is Giving, Esther Hicks. She has some amazing TED Talks too. Then this book is great as well. Zen and the Art of Happiness by Chris Prentice. Then we have Chase the Lion, which kind of talks about if your dreams aren't big enough to scare you, then your dreams aren't big enough. Many Lives, Many Masters is a good book as well.
Mm-hmm. That's great for manifesting a partner.
This is for anyone who's openly gay or queer, anything. The Velvet Rage is a really good book about overcoming the pain of growing up gay in a straight man's world. Is a really good psychology book. And then also Sapiens, I think, is a really fun read.
Yeah.
It kind of talks about the development of mankind and humans and our impact on this world, and like how long we've actually lived in nature versus we've lived in buildings, you know. So those are all some good books.
That one. Thank you, Chris. That was a great gift, man. Thank you. And this IG Live is going to be available all day long, and then we'll switch to the Social NETWORTH YouTube page. Chris, you know I love you. You're my brother, and hopefully I will see you very soon on a social distance way. And thank you for being with us today.
Of course. Love you. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.